A remarkable artifact has been found in Leonardo da Vinci's iconic masterpiece, the Mona Lisa. The artifact, which resembles a possible alien high priest, can only be seen when two halves of the image are mirrored and joined together. Once the image has been filtered, we can begin to see a mysterious figure emerge. If we strip away the image filters, and apply some subtle colorization and highlights, we can clearly see that Da Vinci has hidden a possible alien gray within the brush strokes of his iconic painting. Once we add some color, shadow, and then highlight the obscure details, we can clearly see a small humanoid figure. We can clearly see two eyes, buried in deep-set sockets, here. We can also see a long thin nose, and a small mouth. The figure, which I have estimated to be around 3.5 feet in height, also appears to be wearing a head garment. It also appears to have a defined triangular-shaped anomaly, here. We can also see a similar shaped anomaly between the humanoid's eyes, here. This could be a representation of the creature's pineal gland, or inner eye. As we move down the image, we can see two large objects, which appear to have long thin fingers. I would suggest that this is the decorative collar of the creature's robe. A little further down the image, we can clearly make out two small hands. We can clearly see fingers and two thumbs. We can also see two small ring-shaped objects at the end of the creature's fingers, here. Many theologians believe that Leonardo da Vinci deliberately concealed secret codes and subliminal messages in most of his work. If this is true, then it's reasonable to assume that the Mona Lisa was in fact painted in order to conceal important historical and religious facts, possibly regarding the extraterrestrial presence and its surreptitious involvement within the Roman Catholic Church. Remarkable images from the NASA archives appear to show two massive spheres and a possible cigar-shaped craft on the surface of the Moon. This image, which was snapped during the Apollo 14 mission, appears to show astronaut Edgar Mitchell looking at a huge ball-like object in the background. It would also appear that NASA have tried to hide this anomaly by manipulating the brightness and contrast of the image. However, we can do the same. By simply running the image through a filtering program, it's possible to bring out any details that NASA have tried to bleach out. As you can see, we now have a defined spherical object that is also reflecting light. The light source, which is presumably the sun, is emanating from this direction, here. We can also see that this half of the object is indeed reflecting light, while the other half remains in darkness. The second image, also taken from Apollo 14, appears to show a similar globe-like object in the background. Again, if we apply some filters, we can see that the object has a defined spherical shape, and is also reflecting light. The final image, which was snapped during the Apollo 12 mission, appears to show a very bright illuminated hotspot. However, if we reduce the gamma and brightness of the image, we can clearly see that this bright anomaly could possibly be an object hovering above the lunar landscape. It's interesting to note that the Hasselblad cameras used in the Apollo missions had a pentagonal leaf shutter aperture. As you can see from these images, lens flare occasionally occurred when direct light entered the lens. However, this does not explain the spherical objects or the tube-shaped light anomaly. I have no idea what these objects truly are, but I would theorize that they are either solid objects of an extraterrestrial nature, or possibly further evidence that the Apollo moon images were photographed in a studio, probably using projected backgrounds with multiple light sources. A possible giant extraterrestrial creature has been photographed by an airline passenger over Austria. The remarkable photograph, which was snapped at 30,000 feet, by passenger Nick O'Donoghue, clearly shows a huge mysterious figure, walking on the clouds. The massive figure appears to have a head, a large body with 2 arms, and 2 legs. The figure is also casting a defined shadow. We can assume, due to the altitude of the passenger jet, that this figure is not a reflection of a land-based building, or installation. It's clearly something that is solid in nature, and clearly above the clouds, hence the defined shadow. It would appear, judging by this remarkable image, that a race of giant humanoid beings could actually exist somewhere in Earth's lower stratosphere. Many conspiracy theorists believe that extraterrestrial entities are possibly manifesting within supernatural phenomena in an effort to communicate, or possibly even warn mankind. Until these mysteries are finally solved, we can only speculate at what they truly are. But if an extraterrestrial species are indeed trying to communicate with mankind, then I truly hope the human race will listen. Remarkable footage has emerged of a possible flying saucer observing the Apollo 15 crew on the moon.
Roger, Dave, that sounds good.
I tell you, looking even that way, the sun angle.
The footage, which was filmed by astronaut Jim Irwin, appears to show a saucer-shaped craft hovering on the lunar surface.
Towards the ground. And now it's pointing back at the limb, but down. I want you to take a look as I move it up slowly. Make sure that we're okay on the...
As you can see, the object has a classic saucer design and color. It even appears to have a dome on top.
Dave,
We can also assume that the object is hovering above the lunar surface. We can clearly see the craft's shadow here.
Yeah, that's possible.
It would appear, judging by this official NASA footage, that the crew of Apollo 15 were being observed by an alien spacecraft during their mission to the moon. It would also confirm that there is indeed an extraterrestrial presence monitoring the NASA space program. Is it possible that an advanced extraterrestrial species are using Earth's moon as a secret base? If it is, then we must ask the question, why is NASA continuing to stay silent regarding the reality of extraterrestrial life, not just in our solar system, but on our closest neighbor, the moon?
Dave, we read all of that. We are getting a beautiful picture.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Clifford Stone. I was a Sergeant First Class, United States Army. I had a secret clearance with nuclear surety. I could get the clearance that I needed to do whatever it was that was necessary for me to do at the time on special operations when I was called in on those. What I'm referring to here is that I was involved in situations where we actually did recoveries of crashed saucers, for lack of a better term, debris thereof. There were bodies that were involved with some of these crashes, also some were alive. While we were doing all this, we were telling the American public there was nothing to it. We were telling the world there was nothing to it. But the whole situation is, we've set back, we've told the American people that there's no such thing as UFOs. I've been involved where we have recovered these objects. We know them to be of extraterrestrials. In 1969, I had an event that happened to me while I was stationed at Fort Lee, Virginia. We went to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. That would be my first exposure to any time that we would be recovering an unidentified flying object. Later on, most people involved were to be told that there was nothing on board it. It was nothing more than just a crash of one of our aircraft. I know better because I was one of the people that approached it with a Geiger counter to get surface readings. I was the first person to go ahead and see that there were bodies on it. That would be the first of approximately 12 events. UFO crashes are not events that take place every day. They're rare. I know we're not alone in the universe. I know that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's evidence that has been denied to the American people.
this information to the young people of the world in this country. They want to hear it. They want it. Give it to them. Don't hide it and tell lies and make stories. They're not stupid. They deserve it. It's their information. It doesn't belong to the Army or the Department of Defense. It's theirs. If it's classified, take the classification off and give it to them.